Hello there, this is me, Matt McMahon, and I'm here to state my opinion. There's recently been a very controversial video over Bill Nye, the science guy. He has come out and said that he is an atheist, albeit I will say this, I don't agree with all the points he states here. I'm not going to say that he's completely right in all the views he states, but he has some very valid points, and he shouldn't be criticized for. He shouldn't be passed off as an old fart who needs to stay out of the limelight, because he has his valid points, he has his valid opinions, and he should be respected for staying out. I know this video doesn't have that much Christians, but lately people have been arguing on about all this crap, and we need to focus on the video, people. You need to focus on the fact that he doesn't have that many invalid points. Now, I will say some invalid points. For example, if we look at the video here, which I'm going to look right now, I'm going to go back to my history. I'm going to pause this because I don't be sued for copyright. This is Bill Nye, creationism is not perfect for children. I think the video is misleading itself because he barely talks about it. And I think a lot of people look at the video and they go, "Oh my God, he's defaming Christianity. He's debunking creationism. Oh no, we need a negative comment him." But that's not the point of it. That's not the point. He states, here's the thing he states. One thing he states is that he says it's really a hard thing. It's really hard thing. In another couple of centuries in the world, that worldview, I'm sure it will be that it just won't exist. There's no evidence for it. I personally disagree with that. I'm me being an agnostic myself. Me questioning God and me, still having opinions and still questioning it both. I am for anyone questioning it. I encourage people to question God. Not to, I'm not saying that you shouldn't stray away from God if you don't want to. If you're fine with that, I'm cool. I am not against Christians. All I'm saying is that I encourage you to question it. And what he says is, if you look at videos like Mr. Epsilon and look at a whole bunch of fallacies and logical points, it's not a valid point, because the problem is, if we don't have religion, people will find another way to separate themselves into war, into things, find ways to separate themselves via saying, people find ways to have beliefs that are different from other people that can be considered religious. Even if we didn't have, Christianity, even if we didn't have Buddhism, even if we didn't have, Sikhism, Confucianism, if we didn't have, I don't know if it's Sikhism or Shikhism, either way, or if we didn't have Islam, Muslim, Muslim beliefs, they're the same thing, I know. But if we didn't have all this stuff, we'd still find some way to have a different belief than someone else. There's some way to have a religious belief, somehow. Because our body kind of needs something, whether it be, logical, whether it be ontological, teleological, whatever. We need faith, or we need logic, or we need something in between, but we need something. And those points are going to differ, and we're going to end up having two different points no matter what. Now, I don't disagree with that, but I don't agree with that. I do disagree with some things. For example, I agree with some things. Like, for example, when he says, the point that he makes, I love, is he says that he basically says that kids shouldn't be forced. He doesn't, like, the way they put it, he doesn't think that. He says that it's fine for people to believe in creationism and believe in, not believe in evolution, but he says that you shouldn't force your kids into believing it, which is true. You shouldn't. You should not force your kids to believe in it. Because kids should be allowed to have their own free opinions. Because if they don't, they might end up leading down a path that they don't want to. And plus he says we need jobs sometimes require these kind of opposite thinkings, these kind of rebellious thinkings. And we need these kind of people who are going to question God, going to question beliefs, question religion, and going to step out of the line and think their own way. Because we need engineers, we need all this stuff. He's almost dead on. He says we need scientifically literate voters and taxpayers for the future. He's true, because if we don't have knowledge over everything, It's not just history. If we don't have knowledge of everything, I mean, at least some knowledge over everything. Now, of course, you can be ignorant towards something, but if you don't know the basics, there's no way you can make a valid decision. And overall, my final thought is that it's the internet, people. Now, I know internet can be serious, but does it really have to? Do you really have to avoid his points, avoid everything, and just say no, duh, creationism, and blah 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 blah, and all this arguing, bickering, and all this? Do you really do you really have to do that? Just look at all the points, and then make an educated decision. You can disagree with him. I'm fine with it, but just don't go and say you're an idiot or you're a dumbass or oh you're stupid, you're an old fart. I mean, because it's disrespectful. It's hating. I'm not gonna say hater because I hate the term hater with a passion, but it's not. I mean, it's hateful. It's not. I mean, it's not constructive. I'm not saying you need to be constructive. Like you can be all negative, but if you're insulting someone, if you really think that's a valid way of arguing with someone, you really think you're smart by doing that, you're not. Okay. So before you go on and look at this video, by the way, it's by Big Think. It was released on August 23rd, 2012. It has 4,487,020 views. But if you look at this now, before you go on it, and before you just you just type your keyboard like, oh, and before you just go and argue with people, note this. Watch the video, read the transcript. Not just watch the video. Read the transcript. And just think about it. Think about it hard. And then, once you're willing to make a valid argument, instead of just passing it off, or instead of just making an uneducated, ignorant, point, or just trying to call those controversy and arguments, just read it, watch it, and learn about it. Okay? That's all I gotta say about it. And plus, one more thing I have to mention is, Billy, this is this is one of the few videos where I'm not stuttering or constantly contradicting myself. Anyway, because I filmed it when I'm in the mood. Anyway, but I'm gonna say one more thing. You really didn't think that the guy with the science guy was gonna be creationist? You really didn't think this about all the lessons he's taught us and all the stuff he's told us and all the stuff he believes? You honestly think that he was going to be a creationist and he was going to be like, oh, I love God, and blah 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 blah? You honestly think that? Well, you're sadly mistaken, because it was apparent that he wasn't going to believe this. So before you go and saying, I used to love you, Bill Nye, note this. It was pretty damn obvious that he believed that stuff. It's pretty obvious that he's more logical than he is, religious. And it's pretty obvious that it should not affect how you think of him just because he's an atheist. Thank you, and goodbye.